Every government has secrets, but only 5 agencies on Earth have the power to topple nations, assassinate world leaders, and steal the private data of 22 million people, all before lunch. These are the 5 most dangerous intelligence agencies in the world, and honestly, their real stories are wilder than any spy movie ever made. We're starting at number 5 with the agency you've probably never heard of. China's Ministry of State Security, the MSS. Founded in 1983 by Deng Xiaoping, who basically smashed 2 older spy agencies together like he was making a communist smoothie. And right away, the MSS had a problem. They weren't flashy, they didn't do the James Bond thing. Instead, they invented something way scarier. A former FBI analyst described it perfectly. If a beach were the target, Russia would send frogmen in the dark to steal buckets of sand. America would use satellites. China sends 1,000 tourists, each told to bring back 1 grain. When they get home, they shake out their towels. That's the MSS playbook. Not one big heist, a flood of tiny ones. And it works. In 2015, hackers linked to the MSS broke into the US Office of Personnel Management. They stole 22 million government records, social security numbers, mental health histories, fingerprints, the usernames on the hacker accounts, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, Iron Man and Captain America. The Director of National Intelligence said he had grudging admiration for the hack, which is spy talk for, yeah, we would have done the same thing, but for all their cyber dominance, their human spies are hilariously bad. Agent Yanjun Xu used the same phone for 3 separate spy rings. The FBI cracked it and unraveled everything. His own lawyer said, quote, "He's no James Bond." And then there's Kevin Mallory, a former CIA officer $230,000 in debt, who responded to an obvious Chinese recruiter on LinkedIn. LinkedIn! He sold top-secret documents for just $25,000, got caught at customs with undeclared cash, then walked into the CIA to confess, but lied about the spy phone China gave him. The FBI hacked the phone anyway. 20 years in prison. The scariest thing about the MSS isn't any single operation, it's the scale. China passed a law in 2017 requiring every citizen and every company to assist intelligence agencies if asked. That means potentially hundreds of thousands of people gathering tiny pieces of information. MI5 revealed the MSS contacted over 20,000 British nationals through LinkedIn alone. France reported 4,000 targets, Germany 10,000. The NSA's cybersecurity director said Russia's spying is like a hurricane, fast and hard. China is climate change, slow, pervasive, and by the time you notice, it's too late. Number 4, Russia's FSB, or as we should really call them, the poison people. Because Russia's spy agencies have been poisoning their enemies for over 100 years, and they are shockingly bad at being subtle about it. The FSB is the latest version of Russia's secret police, which has been rebranding since 1917. Cheka, GPU, NKVD, KGB, FSB. Same building, same vibes, same tendency to murder people with exotic chemicals. They even have a dedicated poison laboratory nicknamed the Chamber, running since the 1920s, where scientists literally tested poisons on prisoners to find the perfect undetectable killer. Their greatest intelligence triumph was the Cambridge Five. Starting in the 1930s, Soviet recruiters targeted 5 students at Cambridge University and told them to pretend to be anti-communist. These 5 men then infiltrated the highest levels of British intelligence. Kim Philby rose to lead MI6's anti-Soviet section. Let that sink in. The guy hunting KGB spies was a KGB spy. The intelligence was so good that Stalin himself thought it was a British trap and threw half of it away. But modern Russia? They've gotten sloppy. In 2006, they poisoned former FSB officer Alexander Litvinenko with polonium-210 in his tea at a London hotel. The assassins left a radioactive trail across every hotel, restaurant, and airplane they visited. The tea reportedly looked more yellow than usual and thicker, kind of gooey. Litvinenko died 3 weeks later, so radioactive he was buried in a lead-lined coffin. Then in 2018, they tried again. GRU agents smeared Novichok nerve agent on the door handle of former double agent Sergei Skripal in Salisbury, England. When caught on CCTV, the 2 agents went on Russian TV claiming they were just tourists who wanted to see Salisbury Cathedral's famous 123-meter spire. It became an instant global meme, and months later, an innocent woman found the discarded fake perfume bottle containing the leftover Novichok, sprayed herself, and died. The bottle contained enough poison to kill thousands. Oh, And Vladimir Putin? He walked into KGB headquarters as a teenager and asked for a job. They told him to get a degree first. He later said, "From that moment, nobody could stop me." When the Berlin Wall fell, he was in Dresden burning classified files so frantically that the furnace burst. Number 3. MI6. Britain's secret intelligence service. The agency that literally invented the gentleman's spy. MI6 was founded on October 1st, 1909. Its first chief, Commander Mansfield Cumming, wrote in his diary on day 1, "Went to the office and remained all day, but saw no one, nor was there anything to do." For about a month, the world's most famous spy agency was just a guy sitting alone in an empty room. Cumming was a retired naval officer with severe seasickness. He lost his leg in a car crash and got around headquarters on a child's scooter. During job interviews, he would suddenly stab his wooden leg with a knife. If the applicant flinched, "Well, I'm afraid you won't do." He signed everything with just the letter C in green ink. Every MI6 chief since has done the same. Ian Fleming borrowed this for his character M. The entire James Bond franchise grew from this eccentric one-legged man on a scooter. MI6's worst moment was discovering the Cambridge Five from the inside. When they finally confronted Kim Philby, he gave a partial confession, then escaped to Moscow on a Soviet freighter. Anthony Blunt confessed after requesting 5 minutes to wrestle with his conscience. He stared out a window, had a drink, came back, and told them everything. He was given immunity and continued working as the Queen's personal art curator for 8 more years. But their greatest triumph is a story that deserves a movie. In 1985, MI6 needed to extract their star double agent, KGB Colonel Oleg Gordievsky, from Moscow. He'd been betrayed by a CIA mole and was under KGB surveillance. The escape signal? Appear on a specific Moscow street corner carrying a Safeway grocery bag. An MI6 officer showed up carrying a Harrods bag and eating a Mars bar. Recognition confirmed. They smuggled Gordievsky across the Soviet border in the trunk of a car. At the Finnish checkpoint, when sniffer dogs approached, an MI6 officer's wife dropped her baby's dirty diaper on the ground. The dogs recoiled. The spy escaped. Margaret Thatcher personally authorized the operation. The British government didn't officially admit MI6 existed until 1994. 85 years of pretending. Meanwhile, in the 1962 Bond film, an actor clearly says MI6 on camera. The government had it hastily overdubbed to MI7, but his lips clearly mouth MI6. An agency that didn't exist was upset about being mentioned in a movie about an agency that didn't exist. Number 2. Israel's Mossad. Tiny country, giant fist. When Israel declared independence in 1948, its entire intelligence apparatus had 68 employees. Mossad was formally created in 1949, and the real architect was Issa Harel, who took over with 12 staff members and built it into one of the most feared agencies on Earth. The name just means the Institute in Hebrew. Their old motto, from the Book of Proverbs, "By way of deception, thou shalt do war." Their most legendary operation, capturing Adolf Eichmann. The SS officer who organized the logistics of the Holocaust had escaped to Argentina under a fake name. The tip came from a blind Holocaust survivor whose daughter was dating Eichmann's son, who bragged about his father's Nazi past. Mossad agents grabbed Eichmann on a Buenos Aires street, kept him in a safe house for 11 days, then sedated him, dressed him in an airline crew uniform, and flew him out as a drunk flight attendant. He was tried in Jerusalem in the first fully televised war crimes trial and executed in 1962. After the 1972 Munich Olympics massacre, Prime Minister Golda Meir authorized Mossad to hunt down everyone responsible. In one raid, future Prime Minister Ehud Barak disguised himself as a woman, brunette, not blonde, with blue eyeshadow and military socks stuffed in his bra. His team killed 3 PLO leaders in their Beirut apartments. But Mossad's boldest recent move, the exploding pagers. Starting around 2015, Mossad began selling booby-trapped communication devices to Hezbollah through shell companies. They even made fake YouTube ads. On September 17, 2024, they activated 5,000 pagers simultaneously. Each sent a message requiring 2 hands to read, maximizing injuries when the 3 grams of hidden explosive detonated. The next day, dormant walkie-talkies exploded at funerals for the pager victims. People in Lebanon reportedly became afraid to turn on their air conditioners. Mossad's greatest embarrassment? The Lillehammer affair. In 1973, during their revenge campaign, a 15-person team descended on a tiny Norwegian town to kill the Munich mastermind. They shot the wrong man, an innocent Moroccan waiter, 13 times, in front of his pregnant wife. 6 agents were arrested. One, who was severely claustrophobic, gave up detailed operational secrets in exchange for a bigger cell with a window. And here's my favorite Mossad story. In the early 80s, they leased an abandoned beach resort in Sudan, an enemy country, and ran it as an actual functioning tourist hotel. By day, agents worked as diving instructors for real European tourists. By night, they smuggled Ethiopian Jewish refugees to Israeli Navy boats offshore. The brochures were so convincing that tourists kept booking vacations there. When Sudanese soldiers stumbled onto a nighttime extraction, the commander screamed at the officer for shooting at poor tourists who paid good money for a night dive. The confused soldier apologized and left. They rescued 6,000 people. And finally, number 1, the CIA. Born from America's greatest intelligence failure. Before World War II, the United States was the last major power without a civilian spy agency. Pearl Harbor exposed this catastrophically. President Roosevelt tapped Colonel William Wild Bill Donovan to fix it. FDR described him as a man who has 100 new ideas a day, of which 95 are terrible. But he admitted few men produced 5 good ones in a lifetime. Donovan built the OSS, which included future Supreme Court justices, Hollywood directors, and Julia Child. Yes, that Julia Child. She worked as a researcher in Asia before becoming a celebrity chef. The CIA was officially created in 1947, and within 6 years, they'd overthrown a government. In 1953, the CIA toppled Iran's democratically elected prime minister because he nationalized British oil. The operation was led by Kermit Roosevelt Jr., grandson of Theodore Roosevelt. The first attempt failed completely. The Shah panicked and fled to Rome. CIA headquarters tried to abort. But one officer on the ground kept going, using paid mobs to finish the job. The CIA celebrated. Iran is still dealing with the consequences 70 years later. Then came Cuba, the Bay of Pigs in 1961. The CIA trained 1,400 exiles to invade. Radio Moscow announced the invasion 4 days early. Analysts mistook coral reefs for seaweed, destroying landing craft. Castro's Air Force sank the supply ships. 100 dead, 1,100 captured. Later ransomed for $53 million in baby food and medicine. And then there's MKUltra. Convinced the Soviets had cracked mind control, the CIA bought the world's entire supply of LSD and started dosing people without their consent. In Operation Midnight Climax, CIA hired women lured men to San Francisco apartments where they were secretly drugged, while agents watched from behind two-way mirrors, drinking martinis. Ken Kesey first took LSD through a CIA-funded experiment. The Grateful Dead's Robert Hunter, too. The CIA accidentally helped launch the counterculture they were trying to prevent. Oh, and the Castro assassination attempts? Cuban intelligence counted 638 of them. Poisoned cigars, exploding seashells, a chemical to make his beard fall out, a poison pill that froze to the ice tray and broke when someone tried to pry it loose. Castro survived them all and died of natural causes at 90. Today, the CIA operates on roughly $15 billion a year, with an estimated 21,000 employees. They have their own secret Starbucks at headquarters, where baristas have security clearances and nobody gives a name for their cup. So there you have it, 5 agencies. A combined century of coups, assassinations, poisonings, exploding pagers, spy cats, and one really successful beach resort. The question is, which one do you think deserves the #1 spot? Drop your ranking in the comments, and if you made it this far without any of your electronics exploding, congratulations. Mossad probably isn't watching, probably. Like and subscribe for more stories like this. In case I don't see you later, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.